Joining us this morning to talk more about it is our friend, attorney Whitney Boan. Good to see you. How are you, Whitney?
Good to see you.
All right, so the Supreme Court wraps up in about 2 weeks. What are the odds that this will actually go before the U.S. Supreme Court?
Well, that's up to them to decide whether or not they're going to hear the case. And at this point, the cutoff was yesterday in order for people who are challenging the travel ban that Trump administration has tried to push through to file their responses with the Supreme Court. The odds of it being heard before or recess are probably slim to none. However, it's more likely, I think, that if oral arguments were going to be heard, if they were going to accept this case, that's going to happen in October of this year.
So we obviously know that President Trump is not the first president to institute a travel ban and to have something like this implemented without a problem in the past. Why is this one a problem?
Well, I think what the analysis has been here, there's been 2 federal appeals courts that have ruled on this now. The Fourth Circuit said that this was a constitutional issue, that it violated the establishment clause of the First Amendment, meaning, we're discriminating against people with this travel ban based on their religion. Now the Ninth Circuit, which is the appellate court out in California for the federal courts, has said this travel ban violates the Immigration and Nationality Act of the federal government, and that it without justification discriminates against a certain nationality of people, that there isn't enough there to justify saying you're from this country so you can't come here under these circumstances no matter what.
So is it because in this case, Whitney, someone actually filed a suit? Because in the past it has been okay. I think President Obama had instituted something for a while that was not, I guess it was because it was not contested. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
This has been contested. There was a judge out in Hawaii, you may recall, who ruled this is unconstitutional, and I'm putting an injunction against it so that it can't go into effect. That's what the Ninth Circuit just reviewed out in California in terms of saying this violates the Immigration and Nationality Act. We're not going to discriminate people from these 6 countries from coming into this country just because they're from these 6 countries. Even though Trump has said, and his administration has said, this is for national security, they've actually these courts have looked at his tweets, which is kind of interesting in terms of legal precedents. They've looked at his tweets in saying, you say this is for national security as your stated reason, but your tweets say otherwise. Your tweets seem to indicate prejudice and discrimination. Really your motivation for doing this.
I gotcha. Okay, we want to listen to what the President's press secretary, Sean Spicer, had to say about this recently, and then I'll have you comment. Let's listen to that.
When you look at what the law is in the U.S. Code that allows the president to do whatever he has to, that's what we were deciding on. And frankly, I think any lawyer worth their salt 100% agrees that the president is fully within his rights and his responsibilities to do what is necessary to protect the country.
All right, you're worth your salt, Whitney. What do you say?
I think I would close here's what I think. I think that the appellate courts have now delineated this in their opinions. National security is a totally reasonable justification for the president to use an executive order to limit the entry of people into this country from other countries for reasons of national security. On its face, that's good enough. I agree with that. However, what these courts have looked at is that while the Trump administration may say this is about national security, the facts don't really back that up at all. And then you've also got the president tweeting and Sean Spicer saying Trump's tweets are our policy and they're official. You've got Trump tweeting saying, I want all the Muslims out of this country. We're going to get them all out of here. We've got him saying, this new revised travel ban is something we shouldn't have done because it's too politically correct. And so, I agree in theory that national security is a legitimate reason to do this. However, that doesn't seem to really be the justification by Trump's own words.
All right. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens. Whitney Boan, always good to have you with us. Thank you for being here.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. 7:46.